Good evening and welcome to Prime Business. I am Emma Davis. Let's settle for the details. The Bank of Ghana says it has taken steps to deal with concerns of financial technology firms when it comes to regulation and support. The firms in the past had complained about not being given the needed attention with regulatory support. But first, Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku, said these corporate governance regulations should deal with some of these challenges.
I touched on the need for governance, risk mitigation, and compliance. So the GRC. And these are areas that, irrespective of where you are in terms of a fintech, you must spend time and resources on to develop the governance framework, the risk framework, and the compliance framework. Not because regulators are interested in it, but even if you are a fintech and the regulator is not interested in it, as a fintech, you cannot scale without that. Any investor that wants to come into your space to support you will have to be attracted by a good governance framework, good risk mitigation framework, and good compliance framework. So we need to work with them in terms of engaging more, as the whole panel agreed, to create a governance framework. Should I impose the governance framework that we have for universal banks on fintechs? No. That's why the proportionality will have to be a key component in how we design the governance framework for the fintechs, the risk mitigation framework and the compliance framework, to limit the burden of these regulatory issues without also compromising on stability.
So do I understand that the framework is being put together, or has already been done already, that will be rolled out, or what is happening with respect to the governance issues for the fintechs, Governor?
The framework is in place already. Our current supervisory framework for the fintechs, looking at it more from a proportionality point of view, we are about approving governance guidelines for fintechs, which hasn't been rolled out, even though we are implementing it, but it hasn't been officially rolled out, and we've engaged them. So one thing I said is that we need to engage them from the crafting stage. You don't impose it on them. We sit down and we all discuss and build it together, so there is ownership. So we've engaged them, we are fine-tuning, reflecting their feedback. So once that is officially announced, that's what's going to guide all of us. And that's going, but we're already implementing it anyway.
Will that deal with the concerns of the regulatory challenges and the claim sometimes that when it comes to these things, Bank of Ghana is anti-fintechs, Bank of Ghana is not helping these small-sized fintechs and others, and they see that Bank of Ghana is just interested in commercial banking?
No, actually, the fintechs will rather tell you that Bank of Ghana has been extremely supportive and open, and this actually reflects that assessment. We have this sandbox environment that allows fintechs to be able to test their innovations without facing the entire compliance framework. In that sandbox, you're allowed to make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes, and when we finalize and fine-tune it, then you're able to then roll it out more broadly. So that is there. And so I think even this conference, summit that we have introduced by itself tells you how open and engaging the central bank is with the fintechs. And I think that is a testament to how we've been engaging them.
Let's stay a little longer with the central bank, because the Bank of Ghana says it is expecting newly registered credit bureau companies to use their robust technology and modern tools to enhance the country's credit rating scores. The central bank has granted a provisional license to My Credit Score Company, a wholly owned Ghanaian credit rating bureau, to support banks with assessing clients for various loans and credit facilities. Here's a report.
To revoke one license because it wasn't performing as it was required to by law and under the terms of its license. And so we revoked that license, and now we have two operating credit bureaus. We have also recently granted provisional approval to one credit bureau. So potentially there are going to be three. The provisional license allows them to operate, to get sort of their operations together, and then based on a final license, they can actually start full operations. This new entrant comes with a lot more technology and a lot more sort of operational capacity to be able to provide more granular and more robust credit scoring for lenders using the same information available in the credit reporting system. And so we're hoping that that would be a big change in the credit reporting market. And then we have also recently increased the capital requirements for credit bureaus. We're telling them that this industry is growing so fast, the credit market is now very complex, and we expect that they're keeping up with the investments in critical infrastructure and technology and governance and risk management themselves that allows them to provide more robust services for their clients.
Tax consultant Francis Timoboy has stated that Ghana is not ready to begin taxing big technology firms like Google, YouTube, and Meta on revenues earned from the country. According to him, although the move is a feasible one, he believes a lot of consultations have to be taken before it is implemented. Mr. Timoboy was reacting to assertions by government that it is considering taxing big technology firms.
Everybody is now doing digital. Online platforms, marketplaces, the juniors, and there are many. And almost everything that we need now is online. So it has a huge revenue potential. Now we have the draft legislation. But like I said, if Ghana alone decides to have its law drafted, it won't get anywhere. And Pius, let's distinguish this particular tax that we are talking about from the VAT on digital service. That VAT is on consumers. So today, if you're advertising on Facebook, there's a likelihood that Facebook will add the VAT. That one is paid by the consumer. What we are talking about here is their profit, their income. And if you look at the draft bill that we have done, we even have to ascertain the global revenue of the company. So Facebook, you need to determine the global revenue, which is located in the United States. So we need a lot of technical capabilities to be able to do this, and a lot of cooperation is needed. But if you ask me, it has a huge revenue potential. If we're able to cross the challenges, it will add a huge amount of money to our tax revenue.
So it's not anything likely to happen anytime soon, right? Until we cross that hurdles.
I don't foresee this thing happening. Look, the discussion on digital economy started somewhere 2013 with the OECD, and large economies are even still struggling to deal with this one. So I don't foresee it happening now. I think that what we have started is a VAT on the digital service. That one has already taken place. So that one we are collecting it. But when it comes to the profit base, the income, we are going to see some time pass before we start estimating any revenue from that place.
Economist Professor Godfred Bokpin has advised the National Pension Regulatory Authority to reduce its exposure to government debt by limiting its exposure to not more than 10% of its assets. According to him, such a step will reduce the impact of domestic debt exchange restructuring program on pensioners. Professor Bokpin gave the advice at a stakeholder forum to ascertain the impact of debt exchange program on the pension sector.
Highly regulated in terms of how they do their investment. And if you look at the proportions and the way the law has been structured, actually it's very hard to be innovative. It's very hard to be innovative within the pension sector. For instance, there's a cap of 5% of what they can put here in government instruments and the rest of them. The idea is that given what has happened with the domestic debt exchange, I think there's a need to allow pensions to diversify off government portfolio. Because even if you look at almost all the other investment they do, they end up with a certain pot where the government is still the dominant off-taker and all of that, and it's not helpful. And that is why we are making specific recommendations about increasing the cap from 5% to 10%. And then also, beyond that, we're also looking at how they can explore foreign investments as a way of diversifying, and the rest, of course, the corporate trustees will also raise issues about the impact on the foreign exchange and all of that. But then again, critically, because pensions have patient capital, long-term capital, we are looking at how do we structure with the right legislative framework, enable pensions working with other subsectors to syndicate big-ticket transactions that can critically close the infrastructure gap. Because the reality is that government alone cannot be the face of infrastructure drive.
Chartered Institute of Management Accountants urges businesses or members to continuously develop their skills to add value to their organizations. President for the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, Sarah Ghosh, said this is key to adapt to the new technologies evolving around the world. She spoke to Joy Business at the SEMA President's Dinner.
The Chartered Institute of Management Accountants works closely with employers and sponsors leading-edge research, constantly updating its professional qualification and professional experience requirements to ensure it remains the employer's choice when recruiting financially trained business leaders. Sarah Ghosh called on members to be vigilant.
Okay. So as a profession, we actually see technology as being an opportunity. We see the pace of change rapidly in this space. So technology is coming in to actually help us understand more about the data and to actually analyse and answer questions at a much more rapid pace. So we as a profession are looking at how we can upskill and really have that digital mindset to help us understand the technologies and how we can apply them in our organisations and help decision makers make the right decisions and be informed with the information they're presented with using technology. As a profession, I think we're not unique in some of the challenges we're facing. So I mentioned earlier about technology. Technology is coming in at a pace, and we need to be prepared for that and ensure that our members have the training and materials to be able to understand how we can apply those in real-life environments in organisations. The second one is really around attracting people to the profession. So, this is not unique. We are looking at how we can attract the Gen Zs to come in and help us secure the future of what we're doing with organisations, especially around ensuring that they have that career that we've had, and we've had the privilege of being able to enjoy in this profession.
The Chartered Institute of Management Accountants is the world's leading and largest professional body of management and accountants.
Qua Research and Manufacturing Limited Company is advising its consumers to be wary of fake products on the market from people parading themselves as employees of the company. According to Chief Executive Officer Dr. Samuel Ato-Duncan, the company's products are produced with the utmost care and the strictest quality controls. He said the company is willing to deepen engagements with its consumers. He was speaking at a press conference.
Since its official registration in 2016, Qua Mixture, according to the company, has consistently retailed for 100 Ghana cedis. While inflation has undoubtedly risen over the past 7 years, the company says it has absorbed those costs.
It has taken us years to develop the product that we have scientifically. So if anybody will just stand up and just produce something and just come and say, oh, it works like Qua because it looks like Qua. Qua looks like water. So it is very easy to imitate. But I tell you honestly, I'm the only one who knows Qua, the formula, and I've never given it to anybody. I've never trained anybody.
Qua Plus Mixture caters specifically to immune system support and is positioned as a premium product.
Some even fabricate stories about receiving training from Professor Duncan himself, that myself, implying that they have the same exclusive formula. They often lure customers with a promise of similar results at a lower price. If you know what it takes to produce one bottle of Qua, you clap for us when you buy Qua at 100 Ghana cedis and Qua Plus at 200 Ghana cedis. the process is very expensive. It is not as easy as you see it.
The Food and Drugs Authority has assured of critically analyzing any genetically modified foods before it is allowed on the market. This comes on the back of news about the commercialization of some 14 GM foods. According to Deputy Chief Executive of Food Division at the FDA, Roderick Dadier AJ, the mandate of the FDA is to ensure wholesome foods on the market. He was speaking at a workshop on biotechnology and GM labeling. The Human Rights Court 1 recently dismissed the interlocutory injunction application filed by Food Sovereignty Ghana and others against the National Biosafety Authority over the approval given for the registration of 14 genetically modified crops for food, feed and processing in Ghana. In light of this, the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology Ghana chapter, in collaboration with the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, organized the Biotechnology and GM Labeling Workshop. Deputy Chief Executive of Food Division at the FDA, Roderick Dadier AJ, explained the role of the Food and Drugs Authority in ensuring safe foods on the market.
The Food and Drugs Authority, number one, has a purpose, a mandate given by the people of Ghana. That mandate is to protect the consumer. So if a product is not even safe, we will not even consider the labeling. Now, there may be people out there who may not understand the technology. As far as the Food and Drugs Authority is concerned, any GMO that is on that is released into the system has gone through scientific, proper methods with the NBA, the National Biosafety Authority, and permission has been given. And even with that, sometimes it's not even maybe the seeds in itself, it is the products of it that may be, which are maybe products that probably you cannot even grow. So first and foremost, the Ghanaian populace should have the trust in the Food and Drugs Authority that it looks out for the best for the consumer and that it will not condone with anything that is not of substance to it.
Although GM crops have not been legalized for cultivation, the National Coordinator for Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, Dr. Richard Ampedu Ameyao, explained that it is important to prepare ahead by educating people on GM labeling.
As of now, we are not very sure because government would have to pass a law. In some countries, it's mandatory. In others, it is not. For now, I don't know the stance that Ghana is taking, but we always want to get prepared. So we think that if there's need for us to label, we have to do it now. And the important thing is that FDA have already gone ahead to get the labeling guidelines. So we are here to ensure that all FDA guys who are involved in this labeling exercise would know that they have a guideline. So if the time is up for them to do it, it becomes so easy.
Now to the Association of Ghana Industries as it is calling for a relook at the second-hand clothing market. The association says there are some advantages that come with the market, hence the need for further engagement on activities of players within the sector. President of the association, Humphrey Ayimdake, stressed the need for a balance between the textile industry and the second-hand clothing market.
Used clothes, according to some experts coming from richer countries, is contributing to pollution in Ghana and causing falling price for the Ghanaian traders as the quality drops. Meanwhile, some sector players disagree. At the launch of an evaluation document on the socio-economic impact of second-hand clothes trading in Ghana, the Association of Ghana Industries said there is a need for further consultation.
So there are benefits and there are disadvantages. So we are not here today, or I'm not here today to profess a solution. We are exposing and we are exploring. So there are plus and minuses. So I've demonstrated to you, government makes taxes, and it's the same government that is complaining that your excess import is also creating problems for my forex. Then you proceed to look at the socio-economic dynamics, the cultural influences of secondhand clothing. What has it been today? The availability of Western-style clothing influences local fashion, trends, and social norms, sometimes at the expense of traditional Ghanaian clothing. Until we had the Friday wear, I'm told I got 2 minutes, noted. Until we had a Friday wear, we all kept saying that we stopped using made in Ghana clothing because we were being fed by a lot of second-hand clothing, which are affordable, which is good though, because our economic structure has deteriorated. But as that goes on, how has it been the impact on our culture? So there's an element of discussion that you can explore in there. And you could go on.
Chairman for the Ghana Youth Clothing Association, Jeffrey Abrokwa, said the sector is creating more jobs for Ghanaians.
So these people, they want to destroy our business. So they go far and said, youth clothing coming to Ghana, about 45 to about 50% are trash. So we have put used clothing into Odo River, which is never true, because all what we have taken our money, our hard money, to Europe and buy the clothing to Ghana to come and say to make money for ourselves, they say it's a trash, which is not true. So we are pleading to the government that we are not here maybe to sell used clothing and throw them away. It's never true. Some people, they have gone to collect money to destroy our business.
That's it for tonight on Prime Business. I am Emma Davis. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com. I leave you with international business. Have a good evening.